Okay with
We are live. Welcome to Wrestling with the Future. This is a special non-wrestling episode, and the headlines across the country. New Jersey has gone to pot. Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Scipio, joined as I am each and every week by the pitbull herself, Amelia Chapman. How are you, Amelia? You feeling better, kid?
I feel so much better.
Good. You look terrific. And
Thank
we're
you.
joined by a longtime friend, a filmmaker, director, writer, producer, hell of a writer, too, by the way. Mike Messier, Mikey Messier. How you doing, my friend? MikeMessier.com.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Angelo, and looking forward to this topic, which maybe like some of the listeners or the viewers, I'm not as informed as you probably are. So I'm looking forward to learning and asking questions tonight.
Absolutely.
Well, brother, I'll tell you what, it's a learning curve for everybody. Interestingly enough, yesterday on 420 was National Weed Day.
Right.
We'll leave it to Governor Phil Murphy of New Jersey to one up National Weed Day by declaring 421 as, New Jersey, pot legalization day. We're legal now. You can go to your local dispensary and you don't have to worry about getting pinched by the cops or how much you got in your pocket, as long as it's, as long as you have, what did they say? Under 6 grams, I'm sorry, under 6 ounces in your pocket, it's okay. More than 6 ounces, you have to pay a $25 fine. I don't think anybody's going to worry about that. But here's the thing. The dispensaries here in New Jersey, and they just think about something. They just declared it today that New Jersey is legal. But the dispensaries knew this was coming because we've already got in New Jersey right now 50 full-time working dispensaries.
Wow.
That all opened up at 7 a.m. this morning. And I will show you some of the lines wrapped around the building where you're going to see that tonight. So here's what happened today, folks, in case you are living under a rock and are not informed of world current events. It's legal now in the state of New Jersey, my hometown, to buy and smoke and play around with your friends and get high. You can do that now in Jersey. You can get high and it's not against the law. As long as you have under 6 ounces in your pocket. Remember that. And you can only buy, here's the thing, Mike Messier, you can buy 1 ounce at a time.
Okay.
But they're not allowed by law to sell you more than an ounce at a time. But that ounce can be a combination of gummies, oils, dry product, or wet product. So you go into the store, you buy an ounce, you leave, you come back in, buy another ounce, and you could do this all day long. But it has to be a single, separate purchase for every ounce you buy. By the way, just in case you want to know how much that ounce is going to cost you, about $350 plus tax, plus a luxury tax. So it's going to run you about $410.
Jeez.
But you get to buy it and nobody's going to stop you. And nobody's going to arrest you, and you're not going to get thrown in jail for getting high in front of the cops. So let's talk about this. Mikey Messier,
Yes.
you are a guy who I know did some crunch research today because I heard you listening to the tube.
Yep.
So what have you learned about New Jersey's new marijuana law?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, like you said, New Jersey is the latest state, but it's not the first. In fact, it seems like right now more than half the U.S. states have some form of legalized marijuana, whether it's medical and recreational or just medical. Other things that I found out today that I wasn't terribly informed in is like kind of the history of why it's been illegal for a long time, why that was the norm, why the norm is changing. What's really kind of confusing to a lot of people, and it's still confusing to me, Angelo and Amelia, is how come it's a federal illegal act, marijuana, or to have it or to sell it. It's federally illegal, but state by state, it's different. So I think that could be a thing. There's got to be a ton I don't know the numbers, folks, but there's got to be more than one person, several hundred or even thousands of people that are in jail. Maybe the 3 strikes law that came into prominence in the 90s under the Clinton administration. So there's probably a lot of people who were selling a dime bag somewhere at a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert. And that was their 3rd offense, and they went to jail for a long time. Do we pay restoration to these people that are in jail for marijuana?
That's a very good question, and I happen to know the answer to that question.
Well, I'd love to hear it, because to me,
it's not retroactive.
Okay.
The laws that were on the books, and because there's a very famous case I'm going to cite with you tonight, and it's a really big deal too. And Mikey, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's a really, really big deal. The law is not, listen to this one, folks, it's not retroactive. In other words, if you got arrested in New Jersey 5 years ago for selling, a dime bag in front of the 7-Eleven and the cop saw you, sorry, folks, you're going to stay in jail for a little bit. Okay? Everything is today, clean slate, effective now. Governor Phil Murphy signed the document making it legal to purchase marijuana in the state of New Jersey under 6 ounces for your personal use. More than 6 ounces, you'll have to pay a $25 fine, but you can only purchase 1 ounce at a time at the dispensary. It must be either a state-run dispensary or a private dispensary expressly licensed to distribute and sell and cultivate marijuana. And it has to be consumable grade. It cannot be laced with anything because they test it. They've got state inspectors now. How would you like to have that job, Mike Messier?
Oh, yeah.
Go around to the dispensary. He's smiling. Going around to the dispensaries testing this shit.
And naming each one of them different.
I want to be the state marijuana tester. That's my fucking job. So that's a really interesting point because there's a very famous case right now of a woman. Listen to this one. A woman who was married to a legit dealer, like a big time legit drug dealer. Okay. Because she knew that her husband was selling marijuana in large quantities, they didn't arrest him. They arrested her because she had knowledge and did not come forward. Okay. He was allowed to go loose. They eventually arrested him on some other trumped up charge. I know that for certain. I think it was something stupid like forgetting to file his taxes or a speeding ticket or something that they pulled out of the wood pile. But they got him. I mean, they can. Mike Messier, and Amelia, they can indict a ham sandwich if they want to.
Sure. If the police or the feds want to get you, they'll get you.
Oh, yeah. They'll find something.
Lawyer, you can fight it.
So
here's a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mikey. Go ahead. I thought you were finished.
I guess I got so many questions. One question would be, say someone is in New Jersey, has their legal marijuana or whatever they have, the legal marijuana thing. And what if they drive into a state where it's illegal to have possession?
You know, I'm
that
glad you mentioned that, Mikey, because I will tell you what that's already been tested today.
Oh, wow.
We are where I am located. I am literally 12 minutes from the city of Philadelphia. I can be from my front door to the front door of City Hall in Philadelphia in 12 minutes. Okay? That's how close I am. People in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and the surrounding counties are driving into New Jersey, buying their pot, and driving back to Pennsylvania and getting caught. Okay? They're getting caught and they're doing jail time. It's already happened today. Because the police in Pennsylvania know this is going to happen. If you see an influx of all of these cars heading into Jersey, and you know that this is like not normal traffic for this time of day, well, what are they doing? They're either going to the beach and it's way too fucking cold for the beach. They're going to the casino. That's not happening because the casinos are dying. So what else are they doing? They're spending money at the local pot dispensary. Amelia, give me your take on this.
Yeah, I kind of figured that was going to happen because, it's like something new, they're going to be wanting to get out there and try their luck and see what's going to happen.
Especially what do you make of all this, Amelia, with the legalized pot?
I knew that was going to happen because I know it's going to be in the state of Florida. A lot of people here are waiting for that to happen.
Mike Messier, you'll appreciate this. Gary Vittar says, hello, are you Vince Russo's brother?
How's it going, Gary? Gary, thanks for joining the show, Gary, and thanks for watching.
We appreciate it.
Maybe you're his spiritual brother, Angelo.
Yeah, right.
But going back to what you said about the family member, the spouse that knew about the husband that did that knew the husband was selling, and she got arrested. I knew somebody that was the spouse. She got arrested. Her husband was selling big time, and it was all in the house, the kitchen. They came in and they busted her because she knew, and the husband was I don't know where. And they took the kids away from her, and of course, thank goodness she had a sister to raise. But the husband went who knows where.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was one of the things I said earlier.
It was in Texas.
It was a big deal.
It happened in Texas to a family member of mine. I hate to say, but it was a family member of mine.
Oh, it was. Are you shitting me?
No, sir.
Okay, you gotta fess up here. What happened in that case? I didn't know that they were related to you.
Well, no, it was in Texas, and she
none of this
went.
Has been planned, folks. With Amelia and I did not. We never plan anything before we go on the air. So I did not know that woman was a member of your family.
She went to. Hold on a second. I don't know. Hold on. Sorry. She went to a jail for about 10 years or so, I think, or a few years, and now she's finally back with her kids, and the husband or ex-husband now is in jail for something else, and he got caught for something else.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. Like, what the?
And it was his stuff. She had nothing to do with it. She had a good job doing something else, raising her kids.
I don't understand that. Why risk so much? I just don't get that. I really don't get that.
Yeah.
That's craziness. It's really just craziness.
Yeah.
So this is a strange thing. New Jersey is the latest to legalize marijuana for personal and recreational use. I want to show a little, like we love to do here. We play show and tell. I'm going to show a little video here. This was on the ballot. Okay. It was on the ballot. They put a referendum up. Do New Jersey voters want pot legalized? How much? And they put it up just for shits and giggles, just for the hell of it, just to see what would happen. Well, surprise, surprise. Well, guess what? Everybody and their brother wanted pot legalized. So here was the next headline: is that New Jersey legalized pot? Now what? Legalized weed, they say. Now what happens? Okay. Our friend Governor Murphy says, all right, well, I'll tell you what. So since the people want it, and I'm the governor who gives the people what they want, it's jerked me off some more, Phil. What he did in a surprise move was he went ahead and signed a bill to legalize marijuana. Of course, this is after he was reelected for a second term. He figures I better do something before, I'm out of here in 8 years. I better earn my money, So, and you see he's right in front of a large field of cannabis. And that picture was taken here in New Jersey as well, by the way. But Phil Murphy is right now being hailed as a hero when 8 months ago people wanted to hang him up by his bootstraps. It's already starting with the memes. Okay, they have the I Heart New York logo that's been famous for years, the I Heart New York. Now it's, I Leaf New Jersey.
Can people start growing their own in their own house? Do you know yet?
Well, people have been doing that for years anyway.
I mean, legally, without...
Yeah, of course, that's a really good point. You can, in your own home, grow your own recreational marijuana as long as it's less than a certain amount and not for wholesale distribution. In other words, you can't sell it in front of the 7-Eleven to high school kid. But in fact, and it's funny, as a segue and a tie into that, there's a town here in New Jersey called Point Pleasant. And Point Pleasant, New Jersey says, buy your weed somewhere else. This town is anti-weed. But guess what? They don't have a choice in the matter now because it's statewide law. If somebody wants to open up a dispensary in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, well, guess what? They can do it. And there's nothing anyone can do. All they can say is, not in my block. Speaking of which, this was 7 o'clock this morning.
Wow.
Okay. That line is 7 a.m. If you look at it.
For a non-addictive substance.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It's like waiting for an iPhone.
People are lined up at 7 o'clock in the morning for something that's not addictive, right?
Yeah. But here's the big point I'm trying to make to everyone. The sun's not even up yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's still dawn. The sky's just breaking.
That's kind of my point. Is the argument's been for a while that marijuana is not addictive, but if it's not addictive, why are these people there at 7 o'clock in the morning to get it?
Messier, that's a great tie-in to something we're going to talk about after this little slideshow.
Yeah.
It's been said for eons and a day that marijuana is not a gateway drug. I fervently disagree. By the way, very clever name of that dispensary, the Cannabis. This is the kind of stuff you can expect to see in your dispensary. And there's now this one I thought that's a dispensary, but I thought it was a mortuary. I really did.
Oh my God.
I thought they were urns.
That's what I thought too when I first saw it at first.
Take a look at that New Jersey sign. It says, "Welcome to the Garden State." It's made out of pot leaves, okay? That's funny stuff. But you can buy. It's crazy. You can buy anything you want now. You can go. Buy whatever. Each bottle that you see, each jar. That's like an ounce, okay? It's got an ounce in one of those jars. And they're not very big. They look bigger than they are. They're only this big. It's a small jar that's got a little screw top, lid on it for freshness. For freshness.
That's a good name, girly.
So, yeah, but we're back to square one. This is what happened. This was the ballot question. Should New Jersey legalize marijuana? And that was of course, that was the hot button issue. Everybody thought it was going to be like a big, we're going to have fun with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Joke's on
Yeah.
everybody because the governor said, okay, I'll sign it.
Mm-hmm.
What's he got to lose? It's his last term. He's only got 3 years left, right? He's got to do something after, killing so many people with this horrible COVID regulations. Awful. He and, by the way, Andrew Cuomo were their bosom buddies. Mikey Messier, it's a hot button issue for sure. Where do we go from here, brother?
Well, I think it to me, what happens is, as more and more states kind of go towards the legalization side of things, I guess as a non-smoker for the most part myself, I start thinking, well, how do you, I guess I'm concerned about, I wouldn't want the person flying my airplane that I'm in as a passenger to be smoking weed before and saying, well, it's less than 1 ounce or whatever, so I can do what I want. I wouldn't want to be on the highway at night. I mean, the roads here in Jacksonville, Florida are pretty dangerous already, probably because people are texting and driving or drinking and driving.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want people being high and driving, and I think it's one of those things where, when you normalize something, whether it's alcohol or marijuana or anything else, when it's legalized, it's normalized. And so then people, a certain group of people, a certain percentage of people will think, well, it's fine to do as much as you want. But I think the jury's still out, with marijuana. Are there effects to the brain in people if they smoke an excessive amount of marijuana? And how much is excessive?
That's the question, Mikey. Yeah. That is the crux of the question. What happens? Here's how sensitive this issue is. You mentioned people, driving high or, getting high and then taking to the wheel of their car or whatever the case is. They've addressed this issue today, and I can't even make this up. Police officers getting high on the job. It's legal.
Right.
They have every right to buy it. You can't lock up a cop for buying something that's legal. But the question is, can he smoke it on duty? If he does, how do you know?
Yeah.
Can he smoke it on duty? Can you be impaired? And who makes the laws, or what are the laws for how much is the legal impairment? I mean, is there a breathalyzer that says you have, just like there is for alcohol, if you have so much alcohol in your system, you can't be driving legally?
Exactly.
Is there something like that for marijuana or not? I don't know the answer.
Amelia, do you know what the protocol is? Let's go through that, because I know that
It depends on, I guess, the employer. If they're going to legalize it in certain states, they're going to have to redo each employer handbook again, or redo, or have like so many employees per HR, and redo so many people at a time. So, okay, we know this is legal now. This is what you're not to do. This is what you can do. If you're caught doing this, then this is going to be the final steps, or this is the final step, you're fired, period.
I want to tell people.
Because we can't at work, of course, absolutely. We were told absolutely not. That's it, period.
Yeah, and I want to tell people that Amelia knows from what she talks about, because she works in the health industry, dealing with Medicare and Medicaid claims, and probably much of what you see is the drug and or alcohol related in Florida, and Florida's a pretty lenient state. It's still illegal in the state of Florida to buy marijuana.
Unless you have a medical card, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
you have to have a medical card. That's it.
A script card, yes.
That's
and
it.
That's how New Jersey was, Amelia and Mikey. You could purchase legally if you had a medical script card, which, by the way, you had to jump through hoops to get them.
Yes, you still have to.
They weren't giving them to anybody. And they've taken doctors' licenses away by the hundreds in this state. of doctors that were just going, here, take a script. Here, take a script. You know, I'll get you what. Tell me what you need. How many you need? You want 4 cans? No problem. Here, take a script.
Yes.
And what they did was they said, okay, that Dr. Anderson did this, and Dr. Ambrose did that, and Dr. Bump did this. And so they took Dr. Ambrose, your license is no good. Dr. Anderson, have a nice day, sir. You know, enjoy your stay at the state facility. Goodbye. You know. And now, they were taking doctors' licenses like crazy in this state just a few years ago. Now, everything. This is a game changer. This is a big deal. This is a real big deal.
Especially with pain medication. We tell them, say, no, we don't do that. If you want pain medication, we refer them to a pain management doctor.
What? Yeah. Good point. Yeah. And the other thing, too, that we need to talk about is you got to be 21 to buy the stuff. But you know already a 17-year-old or 16-year-old kid is going to try and figure out how he can get his hands on an ounce of some bubble kush, you know, or some skunk weed or some.
You know, some 19-year-old guy is going to be with his 17-year-old girlfriend, or 22-year-old guy is going to be with his 18-year-old girlfriend and get her whatever she wants. So, you know, he can have a better date that night. You know, I mean, that's going to happen.
Mikey, here's the best thing. You can't even walk into a dispensary unless you're 21. You got to show ID. It's like going into a bar. You got to show them your card. Like your driver's license or state ID or something that's got your photo and birth date on it, you know?
Well, the whole thing, I mean, I don't have a full grasp on it, but it reminds me of Prohibition, you know, back in the 1930s, right? What was that, 4 or 5?
Yeah, kind of, really.
And oddly enough, Prohibition ended on my birthday, December 5th.
Yeah.
Not the same year. But
a lot of shit happened on your birthday.
That's my grandparents' anniversary, my mom's parents' anniversary.
Don't encourage him. But
it feels like
Mikey's birthday had a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, Nelson Mandela died on December 5th, all types of things. But it's just interesting to me that, you know, at one point before any of us were around and able to drink, you couldn't drink legally, so people did moonshine and they had their little distilleries and so forth, and marijuana has kind of been like that for the last decades, for many decades, and now, like Angelo said, it's a game changer. And I guess my I don't have the answers, I really don't, but I guess my questions are, just like drunk driving has been a huge issue my whole life. You know, I was hit by a drunk driver once and I didn't appreciate it. So I just wonder, is the more prevalent ability to get marijuana for more people going to lead to more hazardous conditions on the roads?
There you go.
Yes.
Boy, that's a loaded question. Holy shit. Amelia, you want to take that one?
I feel like he's correct in that, because I mean, the more and more, like he said, you know, we're gonna have to watch out for that too, not just texting while driving, drunk driving. Now we're gonna have to watch out for that too, because we're gonna wonder now, are they gonna be texting, or are they gonna be drunk driving, or are they gonna be driving under what influence now?
Well, it's a loaded question. Like I said, in a lot of ways, it's a loaded question. Is it in a multi-tiered kind of way? It opens up a Pandora's box of how do you address any given issue with any given question, because just when you think you have the answer to one, it's going to create a complication on something else,
right? You know? Or they have kids in the back, are they just playing around, you know? You know, just like today, we had a scare today, you know, it hit, you know, accidentally in the back, and it was the car's fault in front of us, because they were playing around with the kids, picking them up from school, and it was not our fault. It was the cars in front of us, because they were, you know, playing around, and we're like, okay, what's going on here?
Well, Mike Messier brought up a really, really interesting point, and a very valid point. Let's say there's a guy, he's 21 years old. His girlfriend is 18. They're in the car together. Okay?
Yeah.
They're not driving. They're just in the car. He's smoking a joint in his car. Remember, we're in New Jersey. Okay? He's smoking a joint. He's allowed to, okay? Because he's over 21. It's legal now. And he has the required amount of pot, okay? So he's smoking his joint, and he does this, Mikey. He goes like this with it. Hands it off to his girlfriend. She takes a toke. Okay. Did he break the law? If nobody saw it, did he break the law?
I say yes.
It's like the tree that falls in the forest. If you can't hear it, doesn't mean it didn't fall. You know?
Yeah, technically he would have broken the law. And then it's like, well, if they were to get into an accident or somehow it's proven that the legal aged male is providing the underage female with a couple of puffs, who do you prosecute? The girl, the guy?
That's
whoever sold it to him? I mean, right.
That's the question, Amelia. You want to handle that one?
Exactly. I mean, piggybacking off of him, especially if they get into a car accident and she gets behind the wheel and takes the fault for him, and then she goes to jail and of course it's his fault. That's not right. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not right to do 10 years in prison because your husband was a drug dealer. And
yeah, exactly. But, really it was his fault. He should have been the one paying for it, not her.
Well, and that's the point, So here's
but true love, I guess, love conquers all.
Love ain't got shit to do with it. Somebody's taking
that's how she did.
Okay?
Yeah, and he doesn't say anything. He lets her take the fall, and I don't think that's right.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing, though. In a state where it's legal now, okay, we're talking about it's a legal thing now here in New Jersey. Nobody's going to take any fall. What we're dealing now with is somebody over 21. It's like Mike Messier, like when you and I were younger, okay? And we wanted to, we're out of high school, but we're not old enough to get into the liquor store yet, right? So we find somebody that's going in and we give them our $5 bill for a case of, or a 6-pack of Old Milwaukee, right? Now
shoulder tapping, it's called,
Yeah, I'm a 16-year-old kid, right?
Right.
And there's a guy that's going into the liquor store. He's got to be 21 to go buy alcohol, right? So you got $5 in your pocket. Old Milwaukee is like rot gut. It's $1.65 for a 6-pack, right? So you give him your $5, but hey, mister, can you get me Old Milwaukee? Yeah, kid, I'll be right out. So it comes out, gives you your change. Most of the time he keeps the change, but he gives you your 6-pack, right? The same thing's going to happen. I bet you the same thing's going to happen. Some kid is going to be hiding on the side of the building or behind the building, and he's going to get somebody to say, "Hey, mister, here's $100. Can you go get me a half an ounce, or can you get me whatever the fuck this strain is or whatever?" Bubba Kush or Morning Glory. They got all these fucking goofy names now for this shit.
I know, right?
It's like I don't know. To me, it was like give me a dime bag, whatever the fuck is in it, I'll smoke it. Okay, because that's what I used to do. And a dime bag used to be $10. Okay, now a dime bag is like $300. Okay,
wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, brother. Yeah, ain't no dime bags anymore. It's like they're the days of the nickel bag and the dime bag. They're gone. Now
all this. One of the better things, I guess, on the flip side. The thing is, I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other, believe it or not, but I do have concerns. But one thing that I guess is good, that now that the sales are being taxed, at least that's good for the state in theory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, big time.
To me, it's also positive. Like a lot of the reports I was watching on TV today were saying it's positive if this marijuana is regulated, that hopefully people are not going to the parking lot somewhere to meet some creepy guy and buying something that they have no idea where it came from, and
exactly
are kind of grown in a better holistic way, or whatever you want to call it. There's not the pesticides or whatever else is in there, so that's good. But overall, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it altogether, because at some point, if everything becomes legal, how do you enforce any type of decorum in society?
Well,
Not to sound like a prude or
no, you're not sounding like a prude at all, brother.
No.
I feel the same way.
You're doing the other side of the coin. That's what you're doing too.
Here's what I know, Mikey, and I found this out today. It's an interesting thing. Every dispensary must have their own, for lack of a better word, hothouse where they grow the stuff. They have to report to the state what they're growing, what strain it is, where the seed comes from. All that's for real. This isn't. They can't just like say, "Oh, well, I got a pocket full of seeds. I'm going to plant them. I'm going to grow some plants." It's really, really regulated. And if you see some of these dispensaries, they look like laboratories. There's rows and miles of just pot plant after pot plant. Some of them are little seedlings like this, and some of them look like big corn stalks. Okay? Huge. Point I'm making is, and to talk about what Mikey brought up, they are responsible for telling you what it is, where they got it, and what it contains. Okay? What I don't know, and I'm again, not to say that anybody's a prude, because Mikey, you and I are not being prudish about this, because I'm funny like that. I'm not a pot smoker, but I have smoked it because I have severe back pain and I've got issues with my eyes. Okay, so I have smoked it, and I will tell you that I've got it. I have it in my house right now. I've got a considerable amount of pot in my house right now, and I won't smoke any of it. I'm not going to dine out with my with other family members may or may not be consuming anything. I won't do that. Otherwise, I'll be sleeping on the couch. But I will tell you this for sure, that when I want it, I can get it, and it has helped me with my back pain. It has helped me with my trembling legs. It has helped me sleep better. There are a lot of medicinal uses for marijuana. And even if you can't afford marijuana or pot, or you don't want to get high, there's another sister product called hemp, and hemp is very good for you. That's what they derive CBD oil from hemp. Okay, so the pot family has a lot of relatives that are doing good things.
Yeah.
So Amelia, as we are going to talk about, we'll probably talk about this on another show too, because this is it's warming up really.
Oh yeah.
Where do you think legalization of marijuana goes from here, from New Jersey to the rest of the world, or you think it's going to be? Do you think that, here's a question for you and Mike Messier. Do you think that the pot question needs to be, and listen to the way I asked this question, do you think it needs to be federally mandated, or does it need to be on a state-by-state basis? I'll go with you first, Neil.
I think it's probably going to need to be on a state-to-state basis, because it's been going for right now, because the same vote thing that you had for your state, we've had that same thing for ours for pretty much every vote every 4 years like that, and we've said yes every time. Well, it's passed yes every single time, and the only thing that's passed so far was the medical card. and there's a lot of people that can use it, especially a lot of our veterans. We have a lot of veterans that live here.
Yeah,
and that are
that's
using
a
it
big
for
deal
them.
too. Absolutely.
And they could use
Mikey,
it
what
for
do you
them.
make of it? Do you think it needs to be federally mandated, or should it remain state by state? What do you
When I
think?
was a kid, I always thought the federal government had more power than it did. In the last couple of years, I've discovered how much the states, especially the worldwide situation we've had for the last 2.5 years, the states do have a lot more control than I thought. I think for a topic this big, especially when marijuana can be transported from one state to another, like you were talking about with Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, I think it's got to be federal, because you're going to have so many situations where people state hop, and there's an incentive for the politicians to have their state be more liberal or conservative, depending on what type of state they're trying to cater to, type of population. And I feel that, kind of like your guy in New Jersey there, I'm feeling that what he did was, hey, let me be the cool guy for a change, let me be a popular guy.
Exactly,
So,
Mikey. That's exactly what Phil Murphy did. Governor Murphy,
right.
who is by no, when I tell you, Mikey, Governor Phil Murphy is by no means, no stretch of the imagination, the cool guy at all. In fact, were he not a Democrat, you'd swear he was a Republican.
Well, our governor right
Ironically,
now, if he did that,
he
he
won't.
would be Mr. Cool again, because right now he's in hot water with us Floridians right now.
Oh, is that Rick DeSantis?
Yes, he's in a lot of
Yeah,
hot water right now. So if
Ron
he did something
DeSantis.
like that, he
Yeah.
would probably be the cool guy right now.
That's Ron DeSantis or Rick? What is his name? Rick or Ron?
Ron DeSantis is his name. Is
Ron.
that Ron
Ron
DeSantis?
Yeah,
DeSantis.
Rick
Ron.
was the previous governor was Rick. Okay, I got
Yeah.
you.
Ron DeSantis, yeah. If he passed it, I think he'd be Mr. Cool Guy right now with the Floridians.
So, Amelia, I didn't mention it, but Mikey lives in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually not far from the AEW, the hub of the AEW wrestling.
But I think you know what I'm talking about, right? With the mask mandate here, mask mandate there, he's had a lot of people and the COVID shots. And
can you explain to everybody, Amelia or Mikey, what the hell is going on with the mask thing down there?
Oh,
I thought this was all settled.
Oh no, there's been a lot of people saying that he should do it. A lot of people say he shouldn't. He says he wants to see his kids' faces, and then a lot of schools don't want to be. They want to teach from the house. They want to teach. The teachers don't want to go to the schools. They want to teach from the homes, and it's just been a lot of big ordeal here recently.
I don't understand it, Mikey. Is it that complex a deal? I mean,
I guess it is. I mean,
it
I'll
is.
say this.
It's bad.
I've mostly voted Democrat most of my life, but being here under DeSantis's rule, I was grateful that he was.
It was great at first.
Allowing. Yeah, I mean, Disney World was open, movie theaters were open in Florida, and for maybe a year or more before.
That was great.
So I enjoyed as much as I could the worldwide situation being in Florida, because I could still go to a coffee house, I could still go to Panera Bread, I could still go to the movie theater, and I could make the choice to not go into a crowded bar or not go into a crowded restaurant, or if I heard somebody sneezing up a storm in a coffee house, I'd leave. So I was happy to have that. When I came up to New England to visit, it was like being in a third world state. I tried to go to a Starbucks in April of 2021 in Rhode Island, and there's a security guard telling people, they can't park the car for more than 10 minutes. You got to go in, order, and leave like a sheep or something. And I just couldn't understand it. How bad it was up there.
It was horrible, brother. I lived in the middle of that shit.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. During the height of the COVID pandemic, we were in the hub of it. You remember something? The northeast of the United States, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Washington, D.C., this the northeastern corridor. People don't understand this. They really have no concept of how many people are here.
You got the worst of it, didn't you?
Think about this in terms of sheer numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And these are real numbers. Google it if you think I'm lying, and I encourage you to. 75% of the entire country's population lives right here.
Mm-hmm.
New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Connecticut, Rhode Island. This is the hub.
Mm-hmm.
From Washington, D.C., Virginia, up to Vermont, Connecticut, and over to Pennsylvania. That's it. 75% of the country's population lives right here. Because the further west you go until you hit the West Coast, there's a lot of land in between. A lot. And a lot of them people are smoking pot, and a lot of them are getting high, and there's fields and fields and fields of pot plants and all kinds of shit, especially when you go to Kansas and Tennessee and Kentucky. There's a lot of pot shit up, man. They're growing pot by the fields. So nobody's going to tell me somebody ain't getting high down there, and have been for a long time. All right?
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
I guess what you just said, Angela, what Angela just said would make me think that it's interesting that we still have this Electoral College, because if it was a popular vote, then the Mid-Atlantic states and New England would be dominated.
I voted myself out.
Yes, he did. I was like, where'd he go?
I lost my cameras. Where did I go? Yep. I kicked myself out of my own show.
we handled it anyway. We did the segue right in.
I said something about the Electoral College based on what you were saying, Angelo, about 70% of the U.S. populations. I would call it the Mid-Atlantic into the Northeast states. If those 8 or 9 states are so dominant with population, I'm surprised that people in those states or the politicians in those states haven't been pushing harder to go to a popular vote for the presidential election instead of the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Because the Electoral College is supposed to balance out the country by geography.
Is that what they say?
I'm surprised that the Democrats or whoever have been pushed for the popular vote to be the winner for the presidential.
Is that the idea behind it? Somebody needs to tell them that.
The reason for the Electoral College, the way that I understood it, was it's so that the lesser populated states have equal
representation.
Equal representation based on geography, not as much as human being count. So,
for example, Rhode Island, where you're from, Mikey, I think there's 2 representatives in Rhode Island, right?
Right.
California alone has 58 electoral votes. Rhode Island has like 1.
Yeah, 1. Just 1.
But sometimes a state like Rhode Island, believe it or not, with as small as it is and with as little electoral votes as they have, sometimes a state like that can make a big impact.
Yes.
On especially a presidential election. Look what happened this last time around. Goofy got elected. We thought that Donald Duck was going to be elected again, but Goofy ended up being elected.
Yeah.
So, but it's okay because they're all part of the Disney family. Oh man!
I guess just a thought for you, a thought for Angelo and Amelia tonight. And this is really not a question or a statement or anything, but just an observation that in my lifetime and your guys' lifetimes, so many things have changed. Back in the day, you could go to a bar and smoke up a storm of cigarettes right in the middle of the club, or go to a restaurant. You'd have a smoking section, and that got outlawed in the mid to late '90s for the most part.
I heard even on an airplane too, but now I can't.
I'll tell you what happened to me. It was very interesting. I lived in New Jersey. I moved to Tennessee many years ago. And when I left New Jersey, they had imposed a smoking ban in restaurants. You couldn't smoke in a restaurant. Okay, well, it was just around the same time that I was moving to Tennessee. I get to Tennessee, and you could smoke everywhere. Okay, I'm not there. I swear to you, Mikey, I'm not there 3 months, and Tennessee votes no smoking in restaurants anymore. Okay, needless to say, I stopped going out to eat for a while out of protest, but it angered a lot of people because a lot of people, they swear and be damned that smoking helps them digest their food. And believe it or not, there's some scientific evidence to prove it, that smoking accelerates the gases in your stomach. And you can't make this shit up, okay? and I tell people every week I say it to you. If you think that I'm full of shit, I promise you, as I look at you, I can prove everything I'm saying. Go on Google. You have a computer. Show yourself what I'm talking about. It's there because this is where I get my research from. Okay? And I'm not a know-it-all, but I spend a lot of time online researching stupid shit. Okay? This is what I do. My wife calls me a fountain of useless information. Yeah. But on this show, that useless information comes in pretty damn handy from time to time. But this was a really interesting show. Good show. Mikey, what's up next for Mike Messier, my friend?
Well, I'm busy hawking my wares. You know, I got the Fighter Play Battle. Here's the original book, A Distance from Avalon, When the Dying and the Dead Reunite. As of today, it's also on eBay. People can get a first edition autographed copy for a discounted price on eBay. Just look for Mike Messier, A Distance from Avalon. I'll personalize an autograph. And I got my new book, Fighter Play Basketball, Every Shot Counts, which is a young adult sports novel. And that's on Amazon as well.
I got to get that one, Mikey. I don't have that one.
Yeah, this is brand new. Literally the last month I've been working really hard to get this published.
Now, what's the going price on that, Mikey? Because I might hit Amazon and get one.
It's $10 for a paperback and $16 for hardcover.
You going to sign it for me?
Yeah, I'll sign it for you, buddy. Sure. Of course.
You better. You bastard. So MikeMessier.com is the website for your Mike Messier wants, needs, and desires. Mike's got a lot of his films on there. So you're on YouTube. Are you still on Vimeo? Is it your movies are still on Vimeo?
Yeah, my Vimeo's still up. In fact, if people want to watch stuff without YouTube commercials, go to Vimeo because a lot of my stuff is there. But subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel, is my YouTube channel, and things are moving along.
Beautiful. And Amelia, what's up next for you?
I'm just waiting for next Tuesday.
We get to see me again.
Yeah.
We got a good show next week. I've got the man they call Mr. Hollywood, the smartest man in show business. His name is Jeffrey Mark.
Oh, yes, you were talking about him.
He's a who's who of Hollywood. And, I mean, if you are a guy or a woman that love old Hollywood trivia and the shows that we grew up with, like Bewitched and, Mr. Ed and all those, this is the guy to talk to.
Oh, good.
He's a veritable who's who. His books include 2 right now on Lucille Ball, 1 on Ethel Merman, 1 on Ella Fitzgerald, actually 2 on Ella Fitzgerald. He's got the Ella Fitzgerald's biography and the Ella Fitzgerald songbook, which he performs from. And he is a performance artist, a writer, producer, and director, and a performer. Jeffrey Mark will be here Tuesday. And rounding out our final official wrestling show is the one and only First Lady of Professional Wrestling, Missy Hyatt, will be here on the 28th. Then we've got on May, I will tell you right now, on May the 10th, we've got Bruce Blanche who is a man who writes the Academy Awards. You know him from the Hollywood Squares. He was right next to Whoopi Goldberg on the Hollywood Squares. And he is a guy that's credited with the success of a show called Comic Relief. If you're familiar with that, Bruce Valanche and Bob Zmuda are the two guys responsible for that and who wrote that show, Comic Relief. Great stuff.
Bob
And
Zmuda
on
with
May
Andy Kaufman,
12th,
right?
yeah. And on May the 12th, Country Music Hall of Famer and 3-time Grammy Award winner Lacey J. Dalton will be here. And maybe we'll have a surprise for us. I don't know yet. I'll find out when we get off the air. So, for Mikey Messier, for Amelia Pitbull Chapman, I am the Mad Dog, Angelo DeCipio, saying goodbye, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you next time, everyone.